Hi, welcome to Glow's Canter Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Well, today I wanted to share with you the way I make black-eyed peas for New Year's Day. And I know there's many recipes out there, and so I just thought I'd show you one of the ways that I make it. And so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I do is I use bacon fat. I save my bacon grease and I just put it in like a little jelly jar in the refrigerator with a lid. And I'm going to start off, this is probably between an eighth and a quarter of a cup of it. So about 3-4 tablespoons. And I have my pan already preheating here. You might be able to hear it already starting to sizzle in there. And I'm not sure if you guys know the significance of the black-eyed peas, and to be honest, I didn't until I was reading one of my cookbooks, and it was talking about why we eat black-eyed peas for New Year's. It's a sign of luck. And I guess during the Civil War, when the Northerners came down here and they took everything that the Confederates had at this one place, except they left the black-eyed peas and some salt back. And they said that that's what kept them through the winter until, spring, when they could eat something different. But anyway, that's the story that was in one of my cookbooks. Whether or not it's true, I don't know, but I just thought I'd share that with you. So anyway, this is already melted. And what I have is I use one onion that I cut up in small pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to it. You're going to hear it sizzling. And I have one green pepper here that I cut up about the same size pieces. And it wasn't a large green pepper, kind of a small one actually. So there was probably about a cup at the most of that. And then I have 2 ribs of celery here. And not all recipes call for all of those vegetables in it, but I have found that it really adds additional flavor. So I had that on low, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this up to about a 5, which almost is like medium. We're going to go ahead and let this continue to cook, and I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes, and we'll go to the next step. Well, our onions and green peppers have been busy sauteing here, probably about 4 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. I have about 5 cloves here, and I'm only going to use about 3. And what I did is I peeled these and smashed them. And the reason I add this after the other has already started to cook down is because if you added this in the beginning, your garlic more than likely would burn, and it would get very bitter tasting. Garlic cooks very quickly. So while that's sauteing, I'm going to go ahead and add some other stuff here. I have onion powder here, and I'm going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon. And cumin, about 1/4 teaspoon. Cumin goes really well with black-eyed peas. It has an earthy flavor, kind of like the black-eyed peas do, so it really complements. And the reason I'm adding some of this at this point is so that it blooms and gets into the onions and the green peppers and the celery and everything along with the garlic. And then I'm going to add just like a pinch, that's probably not even a pinch, of red pepper flakes. And then a couple of shakes of liquid smoke. Okay, let me shake this up because that's been sitting there for a little bit. And not a lot, just about like that. I'm going to go ahead and stir this around. Oh, you can smell that. It smells good. Can you smell it, Richard?
Yes, I can.
Smells
delightful.
Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is, I was going to show you here, this is uncooked cured salted pork. And I'm going to put in just one, piece of it. I'm just going to cut it. And this will add some really nice flavor. And these are kitchen shears. You have to be careful when you're using stuff like this type of meat or any kind of cured meat like this, because it has a fair amount of salt in it. So I don't know if you've noticed, but so far I have not added any salt to this dish, and I'm not going till towards the end after it's cooked, and I can tell if it needs any. Because once you put it in, you can't get it back. Oh, it smells good. And the other thing I have is a smoked turkey wing. And I washed this. It's important to wash it to make sure it's nice and clean. There were a few feathers on here that I pulled off, and I'm going to go ahead and set that down in here as well. And the next thing I'm going to add is water. And what we're going to do is add enough water to just cover the turkey wing. And that's, of course, a smoked turkey wing. It's going to add a lot of collagen to this as well. Turkey wings have a fair amount of collagen in them, and that'll really help with this dish. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to cover it. There. So I'm going to bring this up to a hard simmer. Then I'm going to turn it down low, cover it, and this is going to cook here for probably 45 minutes to an hour. And then I'll be back and I'll show you the next step. Well, welcome back. This has been cooking now for about an hour. And you can tell, I just wanted to show you, you can see on the top, it's, kind of gelatinous. Not fat, but just gelatinous. And that is from the turkey wing, the smoked turkey wing. And also from the cured uncooked bacon. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to be adding the black-eyed peas along with some of the other seasonings. Now there's many ways to that you can buy black-eyed peas. You can buy them dry. This is a 1 pound bag. You can get them bigger, but usually I have seen the 1 pound is the smallest, at least in our area. You can buy frozen. And this is 12-ounce bag. You can buy them fresh in the produce section this time of year, and you can also buy them canned. For this particular dish, what I am going to do today is I'm going to be using the frozen. Doesn't take quite as long to cook. If you're going to use the dried, I would recommend that you sort your beans, wash them real good, and then you soak them overnight. It turns out real good. But this way is just a little bit quicker and easier, and that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do is just open this up. I'll show you what they look like. Get ones that are frozen. Well, this is a little bit frozen, but you just break them apart. See? And that's why they're called black eye. They have a little black spot on them there. So these have all been, sorted and rinsed and everything, unlike these that you have to do yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. And I'm going to add a little bit more. I had another bag of the frozen black-eyed peas. So I'll probably put about half of this one in. You see? Probably plenty. So I'm going to leave the smoked turkey wing in here still to cook along with this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add bay leaves. It calls for 2. I have one, you know, these aren't what you call a huge bay leaf by any means. So I have 2 plus I have 1 small one. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Then I'm going to put in some marjoram. I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. Maybe 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2. Should be plenty. I sampled I flavored, you know, took a taste test of this, of the broth before we got started again, and it does need more salt. So I'm going to put in, oh, probably 3/4 teaspoon. And I have, this is sea salt, it's iodized sea salt. And then I'm going to put in another 1/4 teaspoon of the cumin. Same amount of the onion powder. I'm going to put some of the liquid smoke in, a couple dashes, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to be putting some more red pepper flakes in. I'm taking some of it back and putting it in there because you don't want it to get overly spicy. We're going to check it at the end and just see, because we can always add more, but I don't want too much heat. A little bit goes a long ways with some of these spices. So I'm just looking to make sure I got everything in there, and I do. So this is going to come up to a boil again. And then once it does, I'll put the lid on it, reduce the heat to probably low because my burners cook a little hot. And I'll be back to show you. This will be cooking probably about another hour, and I'll be back. Well, our black-eyed peas are pretty much done. They've been simmering. They simmered for about 45 minutes with the lid on. And then I removed the lid and I've let them reduce for about an hour to, actually it's almost an hour and a half now. By doing the reduction, you get a really nice, flavorful broth to go with it. And one of the goals when you're doing this is try to prevent as many of the black-eyed peas to break apart. So let's see what it looks like. I don't see any that have broken.
No.
And one of the keys to that is not putting too much salt in. When you put too much salt in here, it will soften your water and your peas will break apart. So anyway, this looks delicious, and I haven't added any more flavorings at all. So let's see, I'm going to sample it here and we'll see what it tastes like. Oh yeah, look at those peas. This will go really well with some cornbread.
Perfect peas.
So I'm going to sample it. See if we need to add anything else. Oh, you guys, this is so good. The peas are real creamy, and that's what you want. It's delicious, and the broth is very, very flavorful. It has a smoky flavor to it. You can taste the hint of the cumin that we put in here and the liquid smoke, and also the red pepper flakes. It is so good, and it's not salty at all. It's just delicious. So anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. And also, I wanted to share with you too, at the same time we were making the black-eyed peas, we went ahead and we did some collard greens. And those turned out really good too. So the collard greens for New Year's is a sign of prosperity and also health. And I think this year coming up, we could really use that as everybody in our world. And the black-eyed peas, they are just delicious. So anyway, give me a comment, and if you try either one of these recipes, we'll be posting both of them, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Happy New Year!